CRL 2025 World Finals at DreamHack Atlanta. As quickly as the day is going to begin, we will already be sending 2 of those players home. Dark open down low, that should get on tower! The Golden Knights on tower, but there's not enough time! And Mo Light is gonna have to repeat a lower bracket run to be the first and ever.
Look, this is going to be a fantastic day, but before we get into this action, I do want to hear your thoughts. What really stood out to you from day 2's play?
From millisecond monk abilities to subs upset, sending Mo to the lower bracket, yesterday was filled with chaos and astounding Clash Royale gameplay. But enough about yesterday. Let's focus on the finals at hand, Josh.
Dude, chaos is the perfect way to describe it. We have so many storylines. The battle of the best friends up in the upper bracket, and then you have to worry about it. You know, there's so much money on the line. If you lose, you get thrown to the wolves. You get thrown down to Muhammad Light, where he reigns supreme in that lower bracket. You have to worry about that. But before we dive too deep into the upcoming action, talk to me about the format ahead.
So looking at the format, you know, we started with 12 players. It's a double elimination bracket. Matches are best of 3 until today. For here on out, we are doing best of 5 duels formatting. And if you don't know what that means, it means you cannot repeat any cards within the entire best of 5. So it's gonna get really down to the nitty gritty when it comes to picking those cards in the last game. And of course, the last player standing is crowned the world champion, taking home a boatload of cash.
A boatload of cash. Let's take a look.
Off of that, basically first round bye, but then sub, like I said in the intro, sent him down to lower bracket where he had to play against Ian, one of the fan favorites. He also ended up taking my dark horse pick out of the tournament with Sandbox. And then once again, Sub and Pedro, you talked about the storyline. These guys, they are friends, they are practice partners, and they are in the upper bracket here. And once again, they have to send someone down to Mo, ready for them.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely incredible. Sub, Pedro, and Mohamed Light, day number 3 of the CRL World Finals. Look, the action's going to be incredible. The storylines are great. And, you know, how do you even predict who's going to be able to win this? Yes, Mo is in the loser's bracket, but, you know, he's born for that. I really do want to see what the audience is thinking. Because, you know, we get out here and we say what we want to say, but I'd like to see what everyone else is saying. And he's in the lower bracket. How does this make sense? 78% of everybody saying Mohamed Light is going to win?
You know, I love this. 78% for Mo to win. I think there's a few reasons why the community is shaping up like this. Number 1, Mohamed Light has done the lower bracket run before. Number 2, this is best of 5s. We have never done best of 5s formatting in World Finals before. And I think it's one of the hardest things to do, to beat Mo 3 times.
Ooh, yeah, I wouldn't want to have to go up against Mo again and again. So talk to me about this best of 5 format. What should we really be expecting? Should we be seeing new cards that we haven't seen so far today? Are we going to see mostly the same meta?
Yeah, I think that, you know, it's mostly going to be similar, but you're going to start to see some cards kind of take the place of others, especially when it comes to spells. I was talking with a few ex-pros beforehand, and I think there's even a chance we see Void, a spell that's almost never used, just to fill one of those spell slots once we get to the late game.
Yeah, it should be very interesting, but let's take a look at something that is coming up with Sub and Pedro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very excited for this. You know, we've kind of coined the term of Battle of Brazil. It's going to be really exciting. Once again, 2 practice partners, 2 friends, same country, going head to head. Let's go and hop into the highlights here to see what happened yesterday.
Acho que, pô, é o campeonato mais importante do mundo do jogo, então, pô, significaria muito. Seria a maior conquista da minha vida. Eu acho que seria isso.
There's the vines coming in. Doesn't even need the poison. Wow. The Skellies take out the doctor, and that's gonna do it.
Sendo bem honesto, eu fico muito feliz em enfrentar o Sub, porque pra mim esse ano ele com certeza é um dos melhores jogadores, juntamente do Mohamed Light. Eu mesmo também acho que eu estou entre os melhores.
Game over, Pedro! Reverse sweep to win it!
Então vai ser realmente uma partida muito incrível e eu tô muito ansioso pra gente jogar.
Boa sorte, Pedro. Que seja um bom jogo.
Representing the same coach, representing the same team, representing the same country, best of friends battling it out in our first ever best of 5 at World Finals. 1 moves on with a guaranteed minimum, number 2 in the world, and a $100,000 check. The other is sent down to the lower bracket where Mohamed Light awaits, seeking his 3rd crown and making history here at CRL. Who will come out on top? The greatest battle of Brazil begins now. Introducing first, our reigning world number 4. Give it up for Cal Sub! Opponent, number 2 in the world in 2023, make some noise for Cal Pedro!
One of the biggest storylines, in my opinion, is the fact that they have the same coach.
Yeah.
This entire weekend, we've been talking about Sub's consistency and Pedro's excellence in gameplay, but really behind the scenes, he has an incredible coach who has really put them in some incredible positions. Now they are doing it by themselves.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up. You know, picking by yourself without any help from your coach can be something that's a little bit daunting for a lot of these players. You know, a lot of them do have experience because on stage you have to be able to do that. But at the same time, you know, the other conversation is these guys have been practicing together all year. So they really kind of know each other's play styles, they know each other's habits, and there's just gonna be so many mind games that play in with this match.
And so it really does make you question, are you gonna go just real comfort in the first couple games and then try and get cute, try and get tricky, or are you just really getting wild early on? What would you do if you're one of these players?
Honestly, I think I'd go for comfort. Pedro, for example, I was talking with Ian's coach, Ismail. He said that Pedro is the best Roll Giant player in the world currently, and he actually played Roll Giant every single set against Ian in practice, and they didn't want to practice with him anymore because he was so good with it. So I think if I'm Pedro, I'm going with that.
Yeah, and here we take a look at the graphic friend to foe. And yeah, these guys are going to be matching up all the time. We've seen it this year, last year, previous year. And I like that Brazilian showdown, consistency king. I mean, this is just going to be a brilliant matchup, and it's so hard to choose between the two players. Both players have that different part of them. Pedro, obviously, one of the best minor players, one of the best RG players. And then, I mean, with Sub, what do you say about him? I mean, it just feels like every single deck, he just knows how to play it macro and micro. There's no tiny errors.
Yeah, I mean, once again, if you're going to be consistent, you need to be able to play every single deck to a T. And we saw that yesterday in a minor poison mirror matchup against Mo. He was somehow able to win. I don't even want to understand how many games he's played with that deck in order to make that happen.
And here we go. We should be seeing some incredible decks soon. And we should be seeing some audience predictions as well, because look, this is going to be one of the closer battles between these two players. How do you choose? And wow, this is exactly what should be happening. 51% for Sub, 49% for Pedro. This is exactly what I expected. 50-50 down the line. Now let's take a look at the caster predictions. And I'm wondering if we're going to see 50-50 too. I chose Pedro. Now, who did you go for?
I'm not going to lie. I also chose Pedro. We're going to see what the other casters pick as well.
Wow.
Wow, okay, we go 50-50 with Andrew and Rich. I mean, Josh, just talk to me a little bit about why you chose Pedro compared to Sub here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I do have to give a lot of credit to just finishing second in the world in 2023.
Yeah.
It's clear that he can do it on the big stage, and in those incredibly tight moments, he's going to be making the right decisions. Sub, so far, hasn't proven it to be able to get there yet, and so that's the only difference between these two players. They are neck and neck.
Well said. You know, I love that graphic. You know, best World Finals finish from Sub was 4th place last year, but really his best finish is guaranteed 3rd place this year as well. This is such an important matchup. I cannot wait to see what decks we're going to be seeing here. I would love to see a minor poison versus RG, just best deck versus best deck, and we're going to be hopping straight into the gameplay, guys.
Game 1, Clash Royale World Finals 2025, DreamHack Atlanta, underway.
A rage from Pedro. Just starting off right away. He's got some beat down. Once again, guys, it is best of 5 duels. So we're going to start seeing a little bit of weird spells, weird combinations. Because it doesn't just matter later in the match, it matters now. Saving certain spells. And the crowd erupts with the king. The crowd here in Atlanta is insane.
Yeah, every single time anything happens, they go off, and you just love to see it. Right here, Sub activating the King Tower, and then going in with the Hunter behind. Monk is going to pop its ability on Pedro's end, and now a Monk ability from Sub, but it doesn't really get that much value.
So it looks like we're just heading into a Roll Giant Mirror matchup. Pedro opting to use the Evo Wizard, Sub with the Evo Hunter. I would say Evo Hunter is a little bit more valuable in this situation, but at the same time, it's also more Monk value as well.
Yeah, we're going to see the rest of the decks soon. Fisherman coming in for Sub. Going to be able to clean that up very nicely with the Fisherman and the guards, but a second shot is going to rain down on the tower from Pedro's RG.
A perfect Electro Spirit to prevent all Roll Giant damage from Pedro. And this is why I mentioned earlier that Pedro is considered the best Roll Giant player at the moment. I mean, he just knows every single interaction. But I think a big thing to notice also is the fact that Pedro has Rage. You know, if Sub does have the log for the knockback on RG and for the guards, that could be a big difference maker.
And right here, Sub electing to go all in, gets the Evo RG right in front of the Hunter. And so the Evo RG in response, and that Monk ability is brilliant from Pedro. Takes only one shot and the crowd starts to erupt. Pedro does take a slight advantage.
There is the log from Sub. Really good plays by Pedro with the deflection of the Royal Giant. And he continues to get damage as well. I would say that this log could be huge later down the line, though.
And here we go, Fisherman against Fisherman. Sub's Fisherman going to put in a lot of work. Hunter is going to be able to get a lot of damage, but the Rage plus the Vines doesn't do enough. And Sub defends it with the skin of his teeth.
Another Roll Giant the bridge. Pedro pre-placing the Monk in the middle area in order to try to get the RG deflection. We will see it drop now.
And right here, RG not getting enough, doesn't get the second shot. The Monk is able to place his hands on top of the RG's body and gets taken off the arena.
And another Monk set up with the Hunter. We're gonna see another Roll Giant and soon Pedro trying to control it with the Fisherman.
Wow,
with the deflection on the Wizard! Deflection on the Wizard from the Monk! And that's splashing on Tower!
And right here, Sub, I mean, it wasn't the best start, but so far he has been playing this beautifully. It's just attack, attack, attack. Finally, Pedro has played an RG. It felt like we went 2.5 minutes before we played an RG down.
And Sub's gonna keep up the pressure. Another Evo Roll Giant. Evo Wizards on the board with the Vines. The Vine, will it prevent the Monk ability from dropping? Wait, he does get off. It is deflecting the Wizard. Royal Giant is on the tower. Oh my goodness, Josh.
The Fisherman doesn't yank. The Fisherman doesn't yank. The RG plus the Fireball. Game 1 goes to Sub.
And the crowd is going wild. Sub with an upset going against Pedro's best deck. And he takes the win.
Can we even call it an upset at this point? Should we be saying Sub is the favorite? Do we forget about consistency? Maybe it's just the greatest in the world. He's trying to show it on this stage, and this is a phenomenal start. RG versus RG against, I mean, we're talking about it. He's the best RG player in the world, and he goes out and dominates.
Yeah, we're gonna be looking at the deck right here. So the main differences here, once again, Sub has the log, better versus guards, better for knocking back RG, and Rage, you know, it's helpful. The Vines, it's strong, but I cannot believe at the end, the Vines just couldn't stop that Monk ability from popping. And don't get me started on the Monk deflection splashing on the Wizard and the tower.
Yeah, that was just gorgeous, beautiful activation of the ability. And what are your thoughts on the Vine? Because I just felt like it didn't get enough value. It felt like he should have had the right defense. I mean, in that last moment, you know, the Wizard plus the Vines, it should have been able to defend it cleanly. Instead, he was able to run away with it.
Yeah, I think the Vine, you know, it did the best it could. You know, obviously Pedro is trying to save more important spells for later in this best of 5. Sub, I like the strategy though as well, just to use one of the 2 best spells of the game. He goes with the log, he goes with the fireball, he gets a win under his belt, and now he has the momentum.
So we've been talking about it all tournament, the Royal Ghost evolution. It feels like the strongest card in the game right now. And it makes you think, when do you use it in this set? Are you trying to delay and force your opponent to think, okay, this could be the game? Or do you just use it in game 2? I mean, Sub or Pedro, both of them. I want to know what your thoughts are on that.
So my thoughts right now, if I'm Sub, I am going to try to finish this best of 5 as quickly as possible. Since he's used 2 of the main spells now, he wants to get this best of 5 done in 3 games to not give Pedro time to curate enough strength in the remainder of his card pool in order to make that reverse sweep potentially happen.
Okay, so you like the Evo Ghost in game number 2?
Yes, I would say Sub should use the Evo Ghost. If I'm Pedro, you know, that's the mind games. That's the greatness of this game. This game is already started on this stage. We just don't know it yet. And as we hop into this match, I'm gonna say I think Pedro should bring a good counter to the Ghost, like the Valkyrie.
Wow, and Sub already using the minion horde. Mortar on offense for Pedro. There's a couple different options with a minion horde deck. You can sometimes use the zap to try and get the miners to protect for your minion horde. And then you can also go a little bit slower using the arrows, try and get it's probably looking like it's going to be a mortar versus mortar.
Miner is getting cleaned up very nicely by the Berserker. Pedro going with one of his comforts, another one of his comforts in the mortar. Boss Bandit variation that we saw Mo kind of bring into this CRL mini meta yesterday.
Skeleton King gonna walk down the lane. Boss Bandit has been one of those cards that's been very surprising. It's just great how valuable it is. And this Mother Witch is gonna put on work on the right. And if the Boss Bandit doesn't take out the Skeleton King, we could be seeing a GG. Instead, the Boss Bandit does take it out. That could have been incredibly dangerous for Pedro, and no dash from the Boss Bandit.
Mortar to the bridge. We have a mortar mirror matchup. Goblin Gang is not getting hit by the ghost right away, and a defensive mortar from Pedro as well. So once again, Sub kind of wandering into Pedro's territory since he has a little bit more expertise with these kind of decks.
Yeah, and right there does mess up with the Royal Ghost. He was a little bit delayed, and with the help of the Vines, that's going to take out the E-Wiz and get another shot. Skeleton Barrel on 3 Elixir, and the Minion Horde is going to be able to clean that up nicely. Would have liked to see maybe a little bit different tile placement. I felt like he could have protected a few more of those minions.
Gang has to drop down to defend this Minion Horde. And I think the card to watch out here, if you're in the crowd, is the Mother Witch. The Mother Witch is going to be huge in this matchup to deal with Skeleton Barrels and the Goblin Gang. Pedro, on the other hand, is going to want to use that Boss Bandit, try and protect those units and dash onto that Mother Witch.
Last card for Pedro should be the Fireball, so it looks like he's just kind of delaying, trying to figure out when he should be using it. But I mean, we've seen the Minion Horde get placed multiple times, Mother Witch as well, and he hasn't used it, so it could be lightning. There's a couple different things that he could be doing with it.
Yeah, there's the Minion Horde. I think it's a great call. Minion Horde's super strong this matchup.
Wow.
And the General Jerry is pushing forward as well. Evo Skeleton Barrel's forced on defense, and the pressure is mounting here for Pedro. Will he be able to defend versus the Skeleton King ability versus the Evo Ghost?
Yeah, that E-Wiz putting in a ton of work, cleaning up everything very nicely. The Boss Bandit will help out as well in a defensive mortar, Sub recognizing that he spent a lot of Elixir and didn't get a ton of value. And yes, these Minion Hordes are fantastic. And yeah, the Fireball is the card in Pedro's deck. This Skeleton Army does defend pretty well, but Pedro does take the lead.
Yes, Pedro taking the damage lead. Skeleton King in the back, filling up the ability from the Lost Souls of the Skeleton Army. And I like this placement by Pedro, playing the mortar 1 tile lower, but Sub knows he can pressure the ops lane because of that.
So going into overtime, both towers very close. And, you know, when you look at the matchup, Pedro does has a slight lead, but who do you think has the advantage?
The advantage here, I mean, it's tough. I would say maybe Pedro. He has a little bit more damage, like basically lock damage with the Fireball. The Electro Wizard kind of acts as a secondary spell as well.
These Skeleton Barrels are so difficult to defend, forces out the defensive Miner, and Pedro screams into the lead. I mean, Sub just doesn't have a small spell, and so every time the Skeleton Barrel locks onto the tower, I mean, an Evo Skelly Barrel on the tower means GG, so he has to protect.
Vines dropping, Evo Ghost as well, trying to clear this gang. He wants the mortar connection, but the mortars take out each other, and the Evo Ghost is controlled masterfully.
Good offensive pressure, didn't overextend. Mother Wish to try and get one of these piggies to go on the map, and Minion Horde over the middle, and a defensive Skeleton Barrel gonna clean up everything beautiful. That Minion Horde is just gone.
And this is exactly how Muhammad Light likes to play. He gets the damage lead, and then he continues to use his Evos even on defense. And I think Pedro's taking a lot of that gameplay from him. I mean, I love the use of the Evo Skeleton Barrel to deal with the Minion Horde. Will the General oh my goodness, the General Jerry barely gets taken out by the E-Wiz.
And right here, just Scar Me plus Skeleton King Larry's, and right there, Boss Bandit does clean up pretty nicely. Mother Witch pressure over the middle, 15 seconds left. This is an all-out assault. If he defends, he wins. If he doesn't, Sub does.
Wait, the Evo Ghost is going towards the tower. Ghouls on tower.
11.
Mortar's not helping.
He takes the lead.
He takes the lead.
If he
Will Pedro get the fireball?
If he fireballs in time.
Fireball.
Fireball doesn't get there. Fireball doesn't get there. Sub gets it. Sub gets it. And as you called it out, Sub using the Evo Ghost, trying to scream with a hot start, and that's exactly what happens. 2-0 in this opening best of 5.
I mean, I'm almost speechless right now. I thought Sub would use the Evo Ghost and try to scream into that lead. He has the 2-0 now. Pedro also used Login Fireball, one of the most key spells again. Pedro really kind of on his back foot and in a tough situation. Unbelievable pressure by Sub in that match in order to get that damage lead back. And I cannot believe that that Fireball didn't hit in time. Unbelievable stuff.
I mean, Sub just taking deep breaths, trying to center himself. He knows all he has to do is win 1 out of the next 3 games to confirm $100,000 and put himself in a prime position to make another $100,000 after that. So that's to be feeling so good. And we saw RG versus RG, where Pedro is considered one of the best in the world.
Yeah.
Mortar versus Mortar, where Pedro is considered best in the world. I mean, Sub's gameplay today and in this entire tournament, he's turning heads.
I mean, I have nothing else to say. Let's go over this replay. Fireball dropped on the right since Pedro didn't have any spells in cycle, and Sub knew that it was moment to attack. He goes for the Mother Witch over the river to deal with that gang. And the Electro Wizard is trying his best with the Vines. And then look at this Evo Ghost. It ignores the Mortar. That was the big mistake there, trying to pull the Ghost to the middle of the map. But instead, Ghost goes towards that gang. And once again, the Mother Witches continue to spawn. And the Fireball just not quite there in time.
Was that the perfect placement?
That is a good point. The perfect placement, if you're trying to get a spell on your opponent's tower as quickly as possible, is towards the inside, towards the King Tower. I think he played it maybe a little bit further to the left side from his perspective. And maybe with the perfect placement, it would have got there.
Yeah, we could have easily been seeing a 1-1. We don't know, and it doesn't matter because Sub is now up 2-0, feeling himself as he absolutely should be. I mean, just what an incredible start for Sub. And, you know, if you are Pedro, how do you come back? You've lost with 2 of your best decks overall. Is there anything you would recommend? What do we need to see from him?
Man, that is a tough question, because you're right. He went with his comfort. He lost, fair and square. Like that last matchup, I would say was pretty tough for Sub. But I think if I'm Pedro, what I need to do is really kind of think through all of the practice matches you've gone and done versus Sub. Try to understand that pattern, and you gotta try and almost snipe into a really good matchup and get yourself into this best of 5.
Yeah, I love that answer because when you are faced with a deficit like this, you need a free win. You need something where it's like, I don't have to outplay my opponent 3 times in a row. Clearly, he's playing well. Clearly, it might not happen. Sometimes you need to snipe. You need to go all out. You need to run one of those 6 spells because you're predicting Expo. Something needs to happen for him, and I love that idea. I think going for a snipe has to be it.
On the other hand, Josh, if you're in Sub's position, what kind of deck are you thinking about running? What kind of strategy are you looking for in order to end this best of 5 as quick as possible to not give a Pedro a chance to get back into it?
Yeah, we are going to be seeing that right now. Game 3, an opportunity for Sub to get a full-out 3-game sweep. Yeah, if I am Sub's, well, actually, if I'm his coach, because his coach can't actually help out right now. But if I'm Sub, I'm probably sticking to something that I've used so far in this weekend. But I don't know if he's used Dark Prince. Dark Prince, not very common. And Ewiz plus Dark Prince, we could be looking at P.E.K.K.A.
Yeah, Sub, a great bridge fan player. I like this. I like this idea, just to go to your comfort, play your best game. Pedro, on the other hand, does kind of do what I was expecting, right? He understood what Sub likes to play, and he's brought a really nice matchup, having delivery, the Evil Ice Spirit, and even a tank in the Skeleton King in order to try and really get him into this best of 5.
Very clean defense from Pedro. Offensive rage to help out the Bandit. Not going to do anything. And Pedro off to a strong start in this game number 3.
On the other hand, Sub has cycled his Evo Battle Ram twice now, so he will have Evo in cycle soon. Pedro preemptively dropping the snowball, understanding the arrows are most likely dropping down.
Yeah, it's so crazy how even in a best of 5 when the decks are changing in ways that we've never seen before, these 2 players can just predict what's going to be happening. He shouldn't have been able to predict that arrows were going to come down, and yet he did it very easily.
Bend at the back. Last card from sub, most likely Evo P.E.K.K.A. Pedro setting up on defense with the Skeleton King. Josh, talk to me here. What are you thinking Pedro's last couple cards could be and how that could influence the rest of this game?
Yeah, I really want to hope that it's not going to be Graveyard. I'm not a big fan of Graveyard in this meta. Skeleton King does get activated, and defensive arrows right there to protect the E-Wiz. But I do not want to see... Okay, perfect. I really like that idea, and if we're going to be seeing Drill, we're probably going to be seeing Rocket. A lot of players are joining those two cards together, especially because we haven't seen him use that last card just yet.
IceWiz trying to slow everything down, Skeleton King tanking, and there's the P.E.K.K.A. from sub. He wants to get both of his Evos in tandem together in order to break through this lockdown defense from Pedro.
And right here, I'm trying to figure out, this might be the first Evo P.E.K.K.A. that we've seen. We've seen a couple P.E.K.K.A. decks, but they tend to try and use it with either the Battle Rams or you know, the Royal Ghosts. It's going to be interesting to see how strong this Evo P.E.K.K.A. and how much value it can get.
Evo P.E.K.K.A. is on the board. Skeleton King ability, forcing the defense. IceWiz splashing everything. And Pedro, you can really just tell by his gameplay. His plan is to have a perfect defense this entire match and send one rocket at the very end in order to win.
Yeah, he figured out what he needs to do. Dark Prince plus Bandit, opposite lane. We should see another set of arrows come down shortly, maybe plus the Rage. There it is.
Wait, E-Wiz takes out the Evil Ice Spirit. The P.E.K.K.A. is now needing a lot more attention, and the Evil Battle Ram on the board as well.
He doesn't have enough. The minions are going to come down at the bridge. He's going to be able to defend that, but the minions are going to get a ton of value, even with the Ice Spirit jumping. Should be getting 4 swings. There's 2, there's 3, and no 4th. So Pedro going to be defending that as best he could, but that E-Wiz taking out that Ice Spirit, that is a game changer.
Yeah, that 1 Elixir card can provide so much value defensively, and we do see Pedro coming out with a rocket. He knows that just defending and dropping 1 rocket will no longer be enough. But now he's in elixir deficit. Will he be able to defend another onslaught from sub?
And right here, sub gonna go in the right lane with the Dark Prince, plus the Rage, plus the Battle Ram, everything coming down the lane. Battle Ram will get caught up by the Skeletons from the Skeleton King, and a clean defense from Pedro. He was able to get away with a rocket and just an easy defense.
Another rocket dropping down, tries to hit the Bandit, doesn't get it. And once again, gonna be down 6 elixir. Can he make this defense happen on the biggest of stages?
The minions forcing the Spirit Goblins to do the right side, allowing the Bandit to take out the Goblin Hut. And here we go. Defensive Evo Ice Spirit right lane should be cleaned up real nicely. The Bandit on offense, and there are just so many troops, it's hard to pick out what's even happening.
And Evil Battle Ram is placed at the bridge. Does he have the snowball and cycle? He does drop it down. 2 Ice Wizards, a Rage from sub to try to break through, but the delivery drops into everything. And with 10 seconds left, Pedro gets 1 more rocket off. Sub's pressure was not quite enough.
2 seconds, 1 second, and that is towered down. Pedro avoiding the full-on sweep, and that was just a majestic deck. I love the deck choice in game number 3. Just give yourself a chance to have an easy matchup, and that's exactly what he did. He's able to get his confidence back. I played that mostly perfectly. It was really just 1 mistake. He was able to recover, and he learned pretty quickly on, hey, I have to play my rocket. I have to get a little bit aggressive. Yeah. I really like the awareness in that situation, and a great game number 3 from Pedro.
Man, we're doing a pretty good job of predicting kind of the play styles here. I really like that sub went to comfort, but Pedro, knowing his practice partner well enough, brings a super controlling deck. The Evil Ice Spirit mistake almost cost Pedro, but with the perfect defense, he was able to make it happen. And as we continue on to the deck here, I just want to note that the win condition from Pedro is Goblin Drill. And I think he played on offense 1 time, sub met it with the Dark Prince, and he was like, you know what? Let me just play this on defense for the rest of the game and get a couple rockets there to finish it out.
Yeah, okay, so I wanna know your thoughts on the Evo P.E.K.K.A. because it feels like it just does not get enough value. It feels like all these players are way too smart. They know exactly how, I mean, you're spending so much on offense to try and help out that Evo P.E.K.K.A., but it's just too easy going against some of these pros.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think that is also something that we're gonna see a lot of, you know, seeing some of these cards that don't get as much value. because of the best of 5 duels. You know, we've gone through 3 decks now, which means 3 win conditions and almost 6 spells for both players are basically not going to be available for the rest of the best of 5. So as we continue on, we're gonna have to see these players continue to get more and more creative with the cards they're picking.
Yeah, absolutely. The champions are going to be changing. We should be seeing new champs and the Evos as well. So just so much that we just never get to see. The best of 5 format in this, it just creates something new, something fresh. It really is a joy to watch.
Yeah, you know, as we're thinking about what decks could be played next, we've seen a lot of drill, we've seen Minor Mortar, we've seen RG. I think Electro Giant is available for both players, right. Graveyard potentially as well. But once again, the spells are one of the most important things here, Josh, because some win conditions cannot be played without certain spells supplementing their power.
Yeah, the E-Giant Lightning is definitely one of those, the spell plus the big guy.
Yeah.
You need both of those.
You
can't do anything else. You can't do Earthquake, you can't do Void. It needs to be Lightning. And I feel like, I could be wrong, but I feel like both of these players have E-Giant and Lightning available to them.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Could we be seeing another mirror?
That would be crazy to see another
so
mirror matchup. This is why I love casting with you, Josh. We're just sitting here, 2X pros, nerding out on this stage. We just love to see the decksmanship, the gameplay. I'm so excited to see Game 4. The question is, I mean, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Do you think that Sub finishes it out here, or do you think Pedro is going to give himself a chance?
Who did I even say at the beginning of the day?
You said Pedro.
I said Pedro. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I think I have to change my mind. I think Game 4 Sub gets it done.
Right, yeah, it makes sense. You know, his gameplay versus Mo yesterday was insane. On the other hand, you know, Pedro, I did his interview. He said that it means everything to him, not only to be the best in the world, but to be the best from Brazil, from his country. And this is the match that decides maybe both of those aspects.
Yeah, I mean, so much on the line. Can Pedro set himself up, try and get a best of 5 reverse sweep? Game 4 underway.
Crowd is excited. Pedro with the skeletons, cycling, trying to figure out. And he goes to one of his bread and butter decks, bringing some Minor. No rocket available for him, though. So most likely going to be Minor Poison.
Royal Ghost for Pedro, and as soon as you see the Royal Ghost, the matchup instantly becomes 60-40 for the player with it. So he has to be feeling good that he was able to survive this long and still have it available to him. Evo Wall Breakers plus Evo Royal Ghost, and here it is, Sub getting very aggressive with the Graveyard, and we see him shake his head. This is why I don't like Graveyard in this meta. There's too many small cards, too many easy defenses.
And there's a big counter push as well. Minor minions on the right, Ghost on the left, trying to clean everything up. Goblin Hut does drop. Will the Wall Breakers connect with the minions cleaning up this hut?
And one of them is able to make it to the tower. It could have been a lot worse. I actually really loved Sub's timing with the Goblin Hut, trying to protect himself from the minions swinging away at the Spear Goblins, and he was able to take it out, but not before Pedro gets his tower down to 23-18.
And once again, we are in a situation where Pedro has predicted his practice partner and got himself into a really good matchup. He has poison and minions for Graveyard. He also has really solid pressure with the Wall Breakers Evo and the Ghost Evo. Not to mention, he's just up like 700 damage to start the game.
Yeah, so Sub quickly recognizing that the only way he can win, I mean, it has to be just with good Evo Wish gameplay. At this point, you know your opponent has the minions, the poison, the bar barrel, the cannon. I mean, he has every answer available to him, and so you need to be getting Evo Witch value if you're going to somehow come away with a victory.
Another thing in this matchup, which is so important, is you need enough elixir to go poison with your Graveyard. On his own, it's just not enough. You see the minions and skeletons just countering everything for very cheap, plus counter push every time.
Yeah, and the cannon on 1% health is still going to get one shot on top of the Ice Wizard. And here we go. Pedro going to cycle cannons in the middle, recognizing that he can't overextend, but he can also just start playing troops. It should be easy defense again and again.
in a perfect barbell from Pedro, damaging the Witch while also pulling the Knight back to the Graveyard. And on the right-hand side, we see the Evo Breakers. Goblin Knight does defend, Knight does get on tower. Sub is trying to come back and make this upset in this matchup happen.
10 seconds left before we hit OT. And right here, Pedro has a pretty big advantage. We could see a late Goblin hit. No, we're gonna instead elect to go Ice Whiz plus Bar Barrel. A lot of cards, but you can't really use the poison on top of the troops, so it's okay to bunch. It's not great, but it is okay.
Evo goes Bar Barrel. Sub knows what's in cycle, decides not to go in for that Graveyard, just baiting out the Evo Ghost instead. Big counter push from Pedro, but the Witch plus Ice Whiz cleans up. But the Miner, Josh, it's always chipping away.
Yeah, these Miner placements have been beautiful, trying to protect the 1% minions and the wall breakers, just everything going Pedro's way. These minions are so aggressive, and we see a nice Goblin Hut trying to be able to protect the Knight and take out those bridge minions from Pedro.
Miner once again coming in, does get some chip. Ice Whiz not down in time. And if you're Sub now, like, you have to start thinking not only about perfect defense, but you need to attack. So he's going in for the Graveyard, but the Evo Breakers are perfectly timed in order to basically apply pressure. But the Evo Witch Protection, sorry, I gotta stop.
Yeah, the Evo Witch Protection is fantastic. Cannon high, trying to take out the Witch, going to target the Skellies instead though. And that's gonna be a defensive poison for Pedro, and it's gonna clean up everything relatively nicely. But this bridge battle is being won by Sub over and over. Only 6 elixir. Pedro in a world of hurt. We finally see the offensive poison. The poison get played. And again, another defensive ghost.
Skeletons.
Skellies line up beautifully. All 3 on the inside of the tower. And all of a sudden, Sub is going to storm into the lead.
Pedro's trying to come back, but the Knight picks up. Will the wall breakers be able to connect? No, Barbarian Barrel in cycle. And with 20 seconds left, we see yet another Graveyard poison from Sub.
Now it's just RNG. Can you have the Skellies hit the tower? We see one Skelly get on the tower, and that's going to be it. 13.99, able to protect, not give up any damage. We see the offensive Graveyard. The Miner gets caught.
The Miner gets caught again. The poison is dipping. The Skeleton hits at the end. And Sub wins the Battle of Brazil!
How did he do that? He was down so much. The Evil Witch protected again and again. Offensive Graveyard, the patience was brilliant. And oh my word, a 3-1 set victory. Let's send it down to the stage because we need to hear.
Before we go to the interview, I just have to say, my goodness, you called it, Josh. There's one way that Sub wins this match. It's the Evo Witch Protection. He played that Witch on the left-hand lane, continued to protect, and won the bridge battle game after game. Now, I want to hear what Sub has to say.
Sub, you've just guaranteed yourself $100,000 and at least #2 in the world. How do you feel right now?
Sabe, você acabou de garantir no mínimo $100 mil em segundo lugar no Mundial. Como que você se sente agora?
Feliz, me sentindo como se tivesse ganhado $100 mil em Mundial, realizando um sonho. Mas não é pelo dinheiro, é pela conquista, então é mais pela vitória mesmo.
It's not for the money, it's for the achievement. It's the dream of my life, so I'm so glad right now.
All right, talk to me about picking 5 different decks here against your best friend, your practice partner, without a coach. What was the thought process there?
Me conta pouco do pensamento de como foi você escolher 5 decks contra o seu melhor amigo e sem coach.
É difícil, mas a gente acaba trabalhando o ano inteiro com um coach, então a gente começa a ter uma noção boa de como escolher os seus próprios decks. Então, em um MD5 é muito difícil, eu considero, mas eu acho que eu fiz uma boa escolha.
Play with a coach along the year makes me understand how to make the best choices, and it's a MD5. It's a tough decision, but I just pick the best of them.
Let's hear it one more time for Sub!
And looking at the stats here for this game, I mean, I honestly really want to break down for you guys this last matchup one more time. once again, I have to give it for Sub. I mean, he did such a great job of really just overcoming such a tough matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it was perfect defense again and again. I mean, predictions on the minors. I mean, look, if Pedro just gets 1 or 2 of these minors to connect, we're seeing Pedro's names, we're seeing his praises, we're saying, oh, it's getting to a game 5. Sub had to play that absolutely perfectly, setting himself up with the Evo Witch, trying to get multiple witches on the board, trying to get the graveyard down, where it gets weird because usually you want the tank for the graveyard. The graveyard has now evolved. Sometimes you're going the graveyard first to tank for those Evo Witches, and we saw him win those bridge battles that he shouldn't be winning. The graveyard skellies getting taken out allowed him to take out the Royal Ghost, even when it was in the evolution form. And it was just brilliant. There were so many different things that he was able to see in that match.
Yeah, and that's how he broke through in the offense. But once again, I mean, I'm going to have to watch this back later and see how many times Sub was able to catch the miner before it hits the tower with not only the Knight, the Berserker, but also the Barbarian Barrel.
Yeah, let's take a look at this bracket. Cal Sub standing alone, knowing that he is going to be waiting the 2 players, Pedro TM and Muhammad Light. We're definitely going to give Pedro, a fair bit of time. We want to make sure that he's ready and able to perform against Muhammad Light at his best. But man, Sub, what a run he has had. He started off the day 1 going 2-0. Day 2, he went, I believe it was 2-set victories. I mean, he hasn't really even played that many games. I want to see more of Sub. Well, actually, we're going to. I can wait a couple, 30, 45 minutes. I'll allow it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so we talk about, this match, but for the upcoming one, we have Pedro versus Mo. This is really tough. I talked to a lot of different players about, who might win today. We saw the community predictions earlier. I think this is kind of what everyone envisioned, right? Someone is going to be sent down to Mo, and now you have to play against the best in the world when you're coming off a loss.
Yeah, it's going to be so difficult to do. Muhammad Light just, when you're having to wait, and I mean, Muhammad Light just has to be feeling good. It feels like Pedro isn't really feeling himself anymore because a 3-1 against Sub, it's got to do something to your mental.
I know, and Mo is just ready, and it's just very easy for Mo to take momentum as well, and he's done the lower bracket run before. The other thing to really think about, though, is, Pedro, he has what it takes. He's gotten second in the world finals before. He wants to be the best, and I'm sure coming off a loss from his friend, from his fellow practice partner, he wants to beat Mo, and he wants to have another chance to go against Sub.
Yeah, it should be an exciting matchup for sure. That was a great way to start the day. I know we didn't get all 5 games and stuff, but I'll take 4. I'll take 4 great ones, and that's exactly what we saw. Pedro, definitely want to give him a little bit of time, though.
Okay, the only thing I'm disappointed about is we haven't seen Void yet. I'm waiting.
Okay.
I'm waiting for a Void Game 5 of the best of 5 duels. There's so many spells in the game now with the addition of Void, Vines, and all of the reworks as well. But it was just so cool to see that Game 5 really pop off with some really interesting and creative decks.
Yeah, I was going to say that I wanted to see Heal Spirit, but we actually did see that yesterday, so I don't have to wait for that anymore. Few minutes away from our upcoming set, and we're just trying to set the stage for it in general.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great. I'm sure we're going to have some highlights for you guys soon. Actually, now, let's go and hop into these last match highlights. And wow, CRL World Finals 2025 has been a blast so far.
My favorite emote is the little prince pointing one. Just like this.
Eu acho que é o do reizinho chorando. É meu emote favorito.
El duende riéndose. Y sería algo como...
私の一番の好きなエモートはこれです。
I don't have gold emote.
I usually go for good luck, that is a text one. And then I like to do a princess thumbs up, so it's sort of like, yeah, yeah.
My favorite emote is 헤헤헤하.
제가 가장 좋아하는 이모티콘은 최근에 출시한 6-7 이모티콘이고요. 6-7.
My go-to emote is the
Meu emote favorito eu acho que da CRL, que é o do dedinho assim, ó.
My go-to emote, it's the exit chef.
Okay, so my go-to emote, I mean, I love the goblin thumbs down emote from the Goblin Queen's Journey, and it's like, huh, huh. So, yeah, that's definitely my favorite.
Our next two competitors have come so far, and they don't want the journey to end now. First up, he goes out of the frying pan and into the Pharaoh. Welcome back, Pedro! And his opponent is no stranger to the lower bracket. Some might say this is where he belongs. Mohamed Lights! Run in 2022 when he won his first championship. Can he do it again to win his third?
Only me and Mugi have 2 championships, and if I were to win this one, I would have the most in history.
And Pedro comes out and does it the easy way. 2 games up, 2 games down.
Depois de 2024 eu ter sido eliminado em 5º lugar. Eu joguei e fiquei em 2º lugar, então acho que falta um campeão mundial pra mim.
I'm confident in my abilities to be able to beat him.
Tome cuidado porque esse ano eu estou no nível máximo.
May the better player win.
And a rematch from Stats Royale here between Pedro and Mohamed Light. It was actually Pedro that came out on top and ended up winning that golden ticket. My, how things have changed since then, though. AC coming off of a best of 5, beaten by his best friend, going, and that was just so good from Rich. Out of the frying pan, into the Pharaoh. I love that. And I got to imagine Pedro right now is having to do a lot of resetting while Mo Light is sitting there thinking, I can make this lower bracket dream happen again.
Did you see my notes? I give it a 9.8 out of 10. that was probably the best one that I've heard from Rich in my entire life. Absolutely brilliant, and I'm so excited for this set overall. Pedro versus Mohamed Light, just how you drew it up when you were trying to make those brackets on day 1. How do I want to see this end up? I want to see Pedro, I want to see Mohamed Light, and we're finally getting it.
Absolutely, and Pedro obviously no stranger to being in the top 3, top 2 a couple years ago. Last year, maybe not as successful now, as you guys can see, this journey that they have gone on along the way. Right there, 2021, number 2 for Mo. A lot of championships in there as well, 2022 and 2024. You can see they're winning the golden ticket in the Kalalis Cup. On the bottom of your screen, you can see Pedro back in 2023. This is a great graphic, by the way. Let's just shout out here. There's a great graphic. And then, of course, 5th, 6th in 2024 gets the golden ticket from Stats Royale, like we were just talking about. As you guys can see, Mohamed Light gets 4th place there, not able to make it to the championship there, but doesn't matter, we're still here with him. AC, other than just talking about numbers and decks like we're going to do for the next couple hours, I want to talk to you about resetting on the big stage when you've come off of a loss. Obviously, you were very familiar in the Teams Edition. Sometimes things start off well in the day, sometimes they don't. What's the best way to reset after a moment like that with a crowd like this, the response? You know, how do you temper the nerves? How do you reset as a former pro?
Yeah, I think what you do is you allow yourself to explode. You say, okay, everything went wrong. I didn't do well enough. I did this poorly. I didn't choose the right decks. I'm done, all right? This didn't happen. It's whatever. I'm on to the next one. If you don't let your emotions out, you're going to do it on stage. You're going to think too hard. You're not going to think as clearly. You're going to get too aggressive, even too aggressive for today's, this weekend. So you just need to allow yourself to just completely be okay and start from zero.
Pedro is a little bit more of a slow-paced player than maybe someone like Sandbox. We saw Sandbox yesterday feeling that he was getting an edge over the Pharaoh and maybe going to take the game, getting ahead of himself. I imagine that's something Pedro's really going to have to work on here to make sure that he is calm, cool, collected as this game and match goes on. You know, just because Mo's down doesn't mean he's out. We saw him come back twice yesterday in that elimination match. And predictions, I was just going to say, AC, no surprise here from the audience at home. Mo Light, 86% and just 14% for Pedro. AC, where did you go in this matchup?
Yeah, we don't even, okay, yes, we can have the graphic, I guess. Yes, I did choose Muhammad
They made
Light.
that. You got to let them show it.
That's true, and you guys are doing great. Yep, again. And who did you choose?
I also went Mo Light. I believe the rest of our team also goes Mo Light. It's just one of those things. It's so hard to bet against him and in the lower bracket, and the fact that he is coming in fresh to this match where, just like we talked about, Pedro just had to show 4 different decks. He just lost to his best friend. He got about, 5 to 7 minutes to reset, and he's already right back on stage against the Pharaoh. And this is a very difficult spot to be in. Muhammad Light hoping that Mama Mo was able to get him a nice big breakfast today after his conversation yesterday on stage. Feeling well fed, feeling well rested, and ready to go. This is the lower bracket final of the CRL 2025 World Finals. One player will go home with $50,000. The other one guaranteed a minimum of $100,000. And of course, second place. No one wants third. No one wants second. Everyone wants the crown. Who will it be? We're about to find out. 3 players remain, 2 though, with only 1 life to give. Lower bracket finals starts now.
Fire Spirit from Muhammad Light. And a Fisherman in response from Pedro. After looking at the Fisherman, we automatically have to assume it's going to be a Royal Giant. Muhammad Light with the Firecracker as well, and you got to think Hog, and that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, you got to think Hog, and you got to think we're in a best of 5, seeing the Fire Spirit coupled with the Firecracker and Hog Rider. Usually the last choice on the list. Well, Heal Spirit's probably the last choice on the list. Usually goes E-Spirit these days, then Ice Spirit, then Fire, then Heal. So Mo Light already thinking about Game 5. Should he potentially have to get there against Pedro?
And Pedro could be repeating what he used in game number 1, going in with another RG Monk Wizard deck. Even if it didn't work out in his first set, he clearly thinks that he's onto something with this deck. And, you know, I love the confidence. If you're going to win, you need confidence, and this is how you do it.
And now Pedro going to have to think about stopping that Mighty Miner as this game goes on. He's got the guards, he's got the E-Spirit, he's got the Fish Boy. Great ways to get on top of it. And of course, doesn't have to worry about the reflection from the Monk like he did in game 1 of his previous set, which basically stole it from him. Friendly fire, if you will.
Both players waiting to hit 10 Elixir. Pedro again electing to leak. It's really interesting to see how he's playing a lot of these matches, allowing himself to leak when other players wouldn't.
Mo Light even leaking a couple Elixir there, then decides to cycle the Earthquake. And a Monk meets a Cannon. As Hog plus guards goes opposite lane, Fishboy gonna try to pull, activate King. Guards up high to pull the guards and distract, get a King Tower activation, but something needs to get on top of that Firecracker and guards. We always say King Tower activated, but at what cost? And this is a massive spend.
just so smart, so aware. As soon as the monk goes down, there's a reason why Pedro was leaking so much elixir. He knew that he couldn't afford to go in, and he didn't even wait till double. If you're gonna wait that long, you have to continue to wait. Right here, though, this counter push can be a little bit deadly. Fisherman gonna yank onto the left side.
One more. Does it get one more? And
Gets
it's
that
done.
last shot.
18-24, 10-33. Usually you don't want to go in the same lane with Hog Rider, but when you've got that much damage done, AC, is there really an option to switch? And Mo decides not to with this Earthquake.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting to cycle the Wizard back there. You knew that your opponent wanted to take the shield off, wanted to cycle the Earthquake. I don't know what I would have preferred, maybe to place it high, but he doesn't do that. And now the Mighty Miner plus Firecracker plus Cannon, that's going to be an easy defense for Muhammad Light.
Mighty Miner back in cycle, Cannon down, Fishboy up high, so not able to pull this Hog. Nothing there for the Hog. Mighty Miner stays alive. That should be tower down. That is tower down. Mo Light takes game number 1. And now Pedro is starting to feel the pressure. You can see it on his face. You drop one game in the previous set, you feel okay. You lose the set, you start the next one back to back and drop the first game. He's got to be feeling the frustration of not being able to get a win.
Yeah, having to go 2 sets in a row. We saw it yesterday with Sandbox. It is so difficult to go back to back. None of these players have been able to figure out a way to reset the mind completely. And you need to figure something out when you're going against Muhammad Light and his coach. That was such a great opening set, and I just loved how he played it. That aggressive Hog, when the monk was cycled, it's so aware. He knows what his opponent was running and how to get past it. And even right there, it feels like Pedro should always have the Fisherman in cycle, always have the monk, always have the guards, but he just doesn't. Muhammad Light knows when you've spent just one